Hi everyone, welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you're a returning watcher. I'm George, I'm the Good Lad Gamer, and today we're pulling Void Shards. One, because it's a ×2 event on Void Shards. As you can see, the portal is purple, and we've got two events. One is a ×2 chance, and one is for targeted champions. And the other is to complete the champion chase tournament needed for Armanz the Magnificent. He is a fusion at the moment, and we're gaining the epics needed for the fusion by doing fragment summons of the epic. So I'm going to be pulling all my void shards. I've got about 50 on this account, and I think I've got about 50 on my other account. So I'm going to be pulling 100 void shards in total. I think last time I did a void shard video, I pulled a pretty good champion. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but hopefully we can see some legendaries in the mix, so I can get some legendaries through void shards, and also a guaranteed legendary at the end of the Armanz fusion. And before I go any further, if you like my content and want to see more of it, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Subscribing makes a huge amount of difference to me. I currently got about 200 subscribers, and my next big milestone I want to reach is 250. If I can reach that number, I know that I'm making good content that people actually enjoy and want to see more of. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let's get into pulling shards. So here we are on the Kale account. I'm just going to go into the Champion Chase tournament just so we can see how many points we need and what the sort of rewards are that we're going to get. I mostly focus on getting the fragments needed for the epic, but it would be nice to get some of these upper level rewards. I think that'd be quite nice. Definitely the 2 lots of books. I'm not too bothered about blessings and those soul coin things. But before we get into pulling the shards, I am going to pull all of my void shards, but I think I just need to pull this guy because I'm going to need to pull him anyway, and it's just going to give me more points in the Champion Chase tournament. So I'm going to pull my two of these, and then hopefully by the time I've done the Champion Chase, it'll be a number 3. Then I can use the points as Champion Chase not Champion Chase, Champion Training points to level him up ready for the fusion. So let's go. And that is number 2 epic. I can't remember his name. What is he? Through the Death Keeper. So that's my 2 copies of him, and hopefully by the end of this video it'll be a 3rd one on both of my accounts. I'm not going to pull any of these because I've got 50 voids, and hopefully that gets me the points that I need. So on to the void shards. Let's go on the first 10 pull. I'm going to do all 52 of these, and I think I've got about 52 on my other account, so I'm going to do exactly the same over there. But hopefully we can see some nice void legendaries out of this. That would be really good. Also, the ×10 target... What has just happened? My first 10 pull. Togron the Conjoined. I actually don't know anything about this champion. So we've got an Organ Tribe support champion and a scary looking skin. What a great skin that is. Got a goat on his back, a goat backpack, and he's got his conjoined little mate here on his neck. So, as I always say on all of my Shard Pull videos, I will go into a kit of any legendary that I pull, and I'll briefly talk about any epic. So, let me read up quickly on this champion's kit, and then I will talk you guys through it. So, Togron the Conjoined. So, on his A1, attacks one enemy, has a 20% chance of placing... Affects one enemy, has a 20% chance of applying a buff spread effect, taking one random buff from each ally and placing it on all allies. Not that good. It depends if you've got some sort of targeted buff on all your allies, like increased defense or something like that. But not that good as far as I'm aware. But it's an A1 that's better than just attacks one enemy. On his A2, heals all allies by 20% of this champion's max HP. Places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also places a 15% continuous heal buff for 2 turns on all allies whose current HP is below 50 of the initial heal, 50% of their initial heal. And then on his A3, increases the turn meter of all allies by 20%, places a 50% increased accuracy on all allies for 2 turns, then removes all debuffs from all allies. And then on his passive, increases the champion's max HP by 10% every time they use an active skill. Stacks up to 50%, resets each round. Also increases each ally's max HP by 5% every time they use an active skill. Stacks up to 50%, resets each round. and then got a increased speed in all battles by 20%, which is actually a really good aura. So definitely a support character through and through. It's a Void legendary, so I guess I'll take it as a win. I'm not sure if this champion's going to be used very much on my account, but it's definitely nice to have another Void legendary in the mix and a brand new champion to my account as well. So let's get on, let's move on to the next 10 pool. No one else is of sort of significance in there, so we'll just move straight on. Togron the Conjoined, welcome to the team. And on to the next 10 pool. Can we get another Void Legendary in this video? That would be really nice if we did. I'm also keeping an eye out on any of the sort of fusion champions needed for Lady Mikage. I think on this account I've already got the Void the Void champion needed for her fusion, but it's always good to keep an eye out for that sort of thing. Inquisitor Shamel in that last 10 pool, really good for Hydra. I would say he's actually had a bit of a reawakening in the game because he's so good for Hydra. Genbo the Dishonored, a great attack champion for stuff like Arena. Aaliyah, Lifebraid, don't know anything about this champion, and Eurogrim got a massive debuff, but was actually one of these champions that can solo. Still is one of the champions that can solo sort of Dragon and stuff like that, but just you need a bit more stat heavy gear that I don't have on my accounts. And Paragon for the Paragon cheese. No one else of note in that one. I'm going to make some room and we'll carry straight on. So we've got plenty of room for the remaining 22 shards. Let's get into it. Another legendary would be really nice. I don't think it's going to happen though after I got Togron was his name. I actually don't know anything about that champion, so he's a bit of a surprising one for me. I don't know if he's being used in the game very much, but I'll look into him. I'll see if he's sort of good for anything. Umbral, Enchantress, and Genbo the Dishonored in that one. On to the next temple though. Don't want to talk about epics. Not that interested. When you've played the game for as long as I have, you've got legendaries that sort of outclass those sort of champions. Genbo is outclassed by my Georgid, for example, so not really much point in talking about him. Golden Reaper is a sort of not as good arbiter, so if you need a speed booster or champion turn manipulator, she might be a good go-to if it's the only person in your kit. Sawai Firstborn, actually Sawai Firstborn has a decreased defense and decreased attack and a weaken, which makes her actually quite viable for clan boss if you can get a speed tune right. So again, if you've only got one champion that has those sort of things and it's Sawai, then definitely look into building her, because I used her once and yeah, really good champion for that sort of thing. And then Reliquary Tender, who is I guess an early game reviver that you could use to quite good effect. And then I'm just going to pull these last two voids and we'll move on to the other account, and hopefully we have just as good luck over there and we can get another legendary. Not interested in rares or epics. Another rare. Ox, not interested. I'll just go in and check the champion chase points, make sure I've got enough, more than enough. I've got the 2 legendary books, which is lovely. I'll take that as a win. I'll save the energy for when I need it. And what I'll do, guys, I'll go onto my other account and we'll do exactly the same over there. And here we are on the Galek account. I've got 58 void shards. I've made a little bit of room. I am going to have to make some more halfway through these pulls, but let's get into it. The ×10, the boosted champion summon thing is Sulfuryion. If I pull Sulfuryion, I'll definitely go for his kit. I do actually have him. I pulled him in my Sifi pull video, I think. Definitely a really good champion to have. I haven't quite built mine out yet, but I definitely will in time. Really good burn champion, so really good for sort of spider content and stuff like that. So we've got Ostrox, Bone Glaive, and Madame Cerise. Is that how we say it? I can't remember. It's really hard to remember how we say things when we're sort of live on the video, because your mind just goes blank. But anyway, 2 noteworthy champions there. Nothing else really to say. Madame Cerise, really good for a sort of buff strip and a decreased defense for Arena. Really good champion actually, and one that I wanted for a very long time and had to build my teams without her. So when I did finally get her, I didn't really use her that much, which was quite sad, but you know, these things happen. A Cold Heart, again, another champion that I didn't have for ages and ages. and I had to build my teams, effective teams with other champions. And then when Coldheart came in, she did change things up and she did make my teams better, but I would have loved her really early on to make those sort of things happen. And Renegade used for a skill reset, a sort of budget version of Prince Kaimar. And seeing a lot of use in the game, actually, really a lot of use at the moment, and probably forever will, unless a champion sort of outscales her, or an epic comes in that might do the same job but have better stats and stuff like that. Skytouch Shaman and Sylar, I nearly called her Fasylar then. Sylar, Maneater and Whisper. Maneater, the most significant in this pool, I would say, because Maneater's probably the first champion that people will get that can sort of do unkillable and make an unkillable team. Matched with Painkeeper, can make an unkillable clan boss team on a sort of budget way. Still quite a hard team to sort of nail down and get really good, but definitely gets you in that sort of Ultra Nightmare place to sort of start with. So a really good champion to have. I already have unkillable teams on both of my accounts, so Maneater will not be used for that. I need to make a little bit of room and I'll be right back. And that's some room made, 182, and I've got 28. I think that's just enough room. I'm not trying to do the math off the top of my head. I'm not that good at math in my own head to be able to do that. Reliquary Tender, a really good champion, really good sort of rare champion to have on your team. I still use Reliquary Tender for her cleanse and her revive. Runekeeper, I can't see his name, Runekeeper Dazduk and Battle Sage, not interested in them in any way actually, so moving straight on onto the next temple. A legendary would be really nice. Where Gren Suncursed is actually the epic needed for Lady Makargate, so I'm really happy to see that. That's some work that I don't have to put in there just by pulling him straight up, getting him to 5-star, and he is ready to go. Sylar and no one else of note in there. Painkeeper, so that's a Painkeeper and a Maneater in the same shard pool video, which means technically I could build a budget unkillable right now. As I said, I already have an unkillable team. So it's not something I need right now, but still some really good champions, and really nice to have them both in the same shard pool. That's really cool, actually. On to the next one. We're going to be pulling these singles, 8 singles, and hopefully we get a legendary out of it. That'll be really nice. You know, to have a legendary on each account would be really cool, because I didn't get any in my last shard pool video where I pulled 14 sacreds. No legendaries in those 14 sacreds. That was quite sad to see. Another epic, we've got a Rowan. Moving on though, don't need a Rowan. Rowan was the go-to poisoner champion needed for Clan Boss back in the day, back in the day, before I even started playing the game. Justicar. Moving on though, not interested. Let's see what we get. And legendary would be really nice. We've got 3 more to go. Come on. A rare. An epic, I'll take that. Andrysia. Not very good at these pronunciations, I will admit, but you know, no one ever is, because you don't know how they're said. So that's all the voids that I have. I did forget to pull my copies of Carfru, so we'll pull this guy when I make some room. I'll do that off camera, we don't need to see it, and I'll collect the rewards as needed. As you can see, I got the 2 legendary books again. We'll keep the energy for when I need it, and I don't think pulling Carfu is going to get me the points for this next reward, but if they do, I don't think you guys really need to see that, so I would say it doesn't really matter. So that is it for the shard pools today, guys. Please let me know if you got any significant champions, if you got any legendaries or anything like that, or any game-changing accounts. Even a Coldheart can be an absolute game changer for someone early on in the game, so please do let me know if you pulled any champions like that. I got one of the Void legendaries. I would say he's probably not the best Void legendary in the world. There's definitely ones that I would prefer over him, but I got a Void legendary nonetheless, which is always nice to see, and it does mean I got a legendary on top of the guaranteed legendary I'm going to get at the end of this sort of fusion. So that'll be it from me, guys. Until next time, when I'm pulling the next sort of set of shards, which is probably going to be, off the top of my head, probably going to be Sacred Shards in 2 weeks' time. But if anything pops up and I want to make another video out of it, please keep an eye out, like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys.